tell, then you see the road. I'm out to my soul into the size. Whenever the smoke clear out of my face and my picture perfect. Do it. All of that green together, the truth, yeah. Tell you the.
Hello and welcome back, fellow anime lovers, to Cypherfics. I am delighted to have you join us once again in the world of fanfiction and fantasy. This is the 8th part of, What If My Little Pony Meets Spider-Man? Special note, this fanfic is written and a masterpiece of JBoy44 on fanfiction.net. Do check and support the author too. Now smash the like, share and subscribe button for more. Also press the bell icon so that you never miss such great parts. Thanks for the introduction. Now let's dive into the world. It was midnight over Meritropolis. The sky was cloudy, lighting was striking, the full moon was red. When on top of an old building a red bolt hit, making 6 appear. Mr. Negative, looking like a photo-negative unicorn, blue fur, white mane and tail, in white suit, black undershirt and white tie. He had an sword in hand and charged it with lighting, so this is the new world promised to us by Kindred. I'll need to build my emperor form the ground up to combat them. The negative unicorn jumped down from the roof, leaving behind the other 5. Sin Eater, clearly an anthro unicorn. He had a green face mask so only his pale gray fur could be seen. His tail, and probably by logic his mane, was black. He had his purple lawn sleeve, brown gloves, tan pants and black combat boots, holding a rifle. I have sinned to hunt and eat. To grow stronger. The next villain left the roof by walking down the stairs into the abandoned building they arrived on, leaving the other 4 behind. The 4 remaining elements were looking around. The blob of water reformed into an anthro earth pony, tan fur, blonde mane and tail, aqua-colored eyes and black shirt and jeans. He then morphed into a stream. I will be causing trouble when I feel like it. I need to know what this city has to want to take form. The spider. He then acted like a waterfall to get to the ground and reform before walking off. The next elemental, the Sandman, looked to the other 2. The Sandman or mane. Again anthro earth pony, sand-colored fur, gray mane and tail, dressed in his normal outfit. He transformed into a cloud of sand to storm away, form the roof, whatever. The deformed blob of melting metal known as Molten Man, head for the harbor, must put out the burn. Most put it out. The Molten Man was always in pain. He didn't have the immunity to the heat his body created, and he was too hot for a power lock collar to make it close to him. Leaving Electro, the last of the Sinister Six, standing on the roof in his classic costume, clearly a Pegasus anthro by his wings, cream fur, black tail, and he took to the air summoning lighting. Well, I guess I'll start. Come on, Spider-Man. Bring that tight as here, boy, he laughed, clearly stalking him. As the bad guy flew off, Kindred blinked and he said, I forgot he was male Yandra. Oh, I am so sorry, Pete. Not far away, Peter was web swinging beside Saddle Rager. Since becoming a bat pony, she enjoyed the night, so it was perfect for date night. That is when the lights went out as Electro showed up laughing. Oh well, look who it is. The spider. Did you miss me? He said, throwing a ball of lighting. Peter back flipped, landing a web line on a cloud to land to it to hold on to. It was so weird to him, but it worked. You are Kindred, last throw at me. My goes both way, stalker. Saddle Rager roared as she fly in to punch him, only for Electro to hold his hands out, making green bolts fly form her body to him, making her fall. No, I am 1 out of 5. I am just the only one who couldn't fight to see those tights around that perfect backside again, he said, throwing more energy ball. And thanks for the gamma charge, lady, it's real easy to absorb with my powers, form a living body. Saddle Rager got up, she roaring with a flap, her wings were feathered again and she grow a foot and mass scaling to it as both her eyes glow red, and thank you for the unlock, she said, flying up quicker with her new larger strong wings. This time she was able to land a punch on him, but to her shock it went through him. Elytrox smirked as he said, when I am charged ENUGHT I am lighting, he said, zapping her with a shock punch, knocking away the new powered-up Saddle Rager back. Peter jumped down, trying to slash at him with a spider leg. I am grounded, so you can't shock me. But how to depower you? He watching his leg go through, he quickly fired a web line to zip back to land on a light pole. In the bright lights of a city. Wait. He looked at his gauntlet while auto-avoiding strikes form Electro flying at him punching with his Spire sense. He hit some hologram buttons and in a moment he said, "That will do it." He soon flipped over the bad guy and fired a web line to web swing to Saddle Rager's side as she got up. First, love the new look. Second, he is still feeding and I set the grid to power up to make up for the drain. Just hold on, he said, jumping to avoid a charge punch as Saddle Rager jumped to her left to avoid him spitting a lighting bolt. In moments Electro changed into a blue energy being formed the drain. Only Anthro-Pegasus in shape as he laughed, "I am at full power." He held his hands together to fire off rapid lighting bolt strikes. "You can't handle me now, hot stuff," he said, happily smiling at Peter licking his lips, while looking right into the lens of the mask. The spider wasn't bothering to avoid the lighting bolts in a grounded suit after all. He then said, "Why did you look me in the eye while doing that? I don't swing that way." The supervillain smirked, "I am a supervillain, you think I care if you say no? No, I take what I want as I am the bad guy." In a moment he screamed as he glowed brighter and brighter as he said, "I have all the power of this city." Saddle Rager saw him sparking and his body glitching out like a static on a TV screen in a storm. And that's the problem. Electro blinked as he looked at his static glitching between energy and solid hand as he said, "What the hell are you doing?" Peter smiled as he grossed his arms, "Nothing, you are doing it. You started feeding and now can't stop and I have the power plans working overtime. Prancer gave me the codes. You are overfeeding and going to overload." The bad guy hovered and he said, "Hot guy say what?" In a moment a loud zap was heard as Peter set the power plant back to normal. After the snap there was smoke as Electro fell down. He got up trying to fire an electric bolt but nothing as Peter said, "You blow your organic fuse. You can't run electric power anymore." Saddle Rager cracked her neck, "So you want to do what to me and my cowwives husband? I am going to break you. I will break you so much you will be a gelding," she said, smirking evilly and slightly demonic. Peter then used a spider leg to cover a colt behind him's eyes as his mother screamed louder than Electro as she said, "Sweet Lord Saddle Rager foals are around." Spider-Man then said, "Nothing worse than a pissed demoness who just got a power boost," he said, lamp shading it. Now Electro was down. So now was Molten Man, Sandman, Hydramane, Sin Eater and Mr. Negative. When the other 5 fall kindred's final act will be over. In the city Zaven was walking around in her zebra form, her suit morphed into a white tank top, jean shorts and flat red shoes. They had all split up to find the other 5 of the Sinister Six. Unlike most of the team, she like Spider-Man knew the Sinister Six being kindred last act meant nothing. They Maker was still on the loose doing the same things without limits. This was just crossing one guy off the list. As she walked she heard dock workers running away screaming monster. In a moment she ducked in and morphed to her new default super changeling form. She flamed on and flew off to see Molten Man screaming, "It hurts, help, put out the flames, help," as he roared making firestorm around him. Zaven was watching and she landed and held out her hands as she said, "I can't cure but I can end the pain. I have the power of the Fantastic Four. I can take away the air that makes the flames happen." Molten Man roared as he screamed, "Do it, take the pain away. I don't want to be a monster of live with this pain, do it." In a moment he was in an invisible bumble. Zaven looked away crying. The man instead was smiling as the air was used up by his flames, putting them out as his last word is, "Thank you, pain gone." Before long all that was left was a burned, melted, mangled skeletal. She ended it and turned off her fire, sighing sadly. But in a moment a wave of water knocked her back and the water formed the torso and head of a stallion. Yeah, I wasn't going to let him cool off. He was the perfect pawn. Water arms formed and the knuckles formed ice spikes as he went in for what looked like a stretched punch only for a force field to appear. The changeling vanished as Hydramane said, "What are you going to do? I am water. I am 1/3 air. Can't hit me, it will go through me. And water can't beat fire." That is when behind a wall Zaven appeared again and looked around, "Water everywhere, he can refill if I turn him to steam." Need to think, she looked around and noticed a ship marked frozen goods and smiled. She vanished and appeared on it again using her powers to make the paint on the ship vanish so it didn't say frozen as she yelled out, "Hey dumbass, over here." She ran inside, flamed on, and in a moment the stallion followed into the ship's hull. The water being looked around, but in a moment the door was closed and melted closed watertight form an unseen hoof before she appeared again at the hull. The water guy following, morphing his water arms into massive ice blades. "Come on, I just want to spear you," he laughed as he followed her. "Come her scrully, time to die for secret invasion." Ha 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 ha. That is when he came into a dark room and the door was once more melted watertight. The flamed-on Zaven appeared as she opened up a barrier between them dividing the room. The water guy smashed but at it bout he couldn't get through using ice fist as rams, but she smiled. That is when she shivered despite being on fire and had to turn off the flames to keep air going. That is when Hydramane felt it. He looked to his left hand, it turned to ice and he wasn't trying. "This is a freezer tank, you have trapped me into being an ice cube." He smashed more. Zaven shivered, she hated cold. But she shivered as she said, "Bugs can sleep in ice, we can melt out and be just fine. Unlike you." Before long she got too cold to focus enough to keep her barrier. Hydramane was now anthro-shaped ice being moving by using the unfrozen water inside to force his frozen body to move, making him move and look like a hydro-powered suit of transparent armor. He walked, his left arm still in sword form. He slowly moved, "Going to kill you, going to kill you. Going OT kill you." Before long his legs won't move anymore and he tried to break off the sword tip using what wasn't frozen to break it off and shoot it off like a rocket. Zaven fell to the left avoiding it as Hydramane froze solid, unable to move anymore. She smiled and passed out in the cold. That is when she awoken slowly. It was warm but she was still frozen, covered in ice. She coughed and flamed on. Without looking where she was. She stood up. She was in a fireproof medical room with a lot of heaters. She was home in the tower. She slowly got up as Antivenom came in to check on her. "Thank goodness you melted out like this Captain America I heard about." Zaven was shivering despite being on fire. "Hydramane." She then put a hand on her shoulder, "Being shipped to the Arctic to stay frozen." "You did it, you beat 2 of the Sinister 6. While Zaven was smiling elsewhere in the city, something was happening. Mr. Negative was taking over the gangs using his corrupting touch. "I am doing my job while the elements stall the spider and his bees." Sin Eater nodded, loading his weapon, "And I shall start killing the local supervillains so when they revive by my powers I get their sins. And their powers. So I can be a one-man army. To crush the spider." Mr. Negative nodded. The next day in the air, Golden Stripes and Zap were flying looking for the next one. Then they saw it, a sandstorm laughing with a face. The face said, "I am the Sand Mane. Come here. Come into my playground, spiders, bees, ha 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 ha." A massive sand arm grabbed them and pulled them inside. They were in a sand-covered city block. It was like the world ended. As sand minions popped up, Golden Stripes want to blast it but the shot did nothing. It made a hole but it was repaired. "Wait, I am so stupid." She held her sword, avoiding and charging for a second before her golden blade slashed the sand, superheating it into glass. "Just make the sand something else." Zap flapped her wings and came up calling for rain into the mess of sand to turn it to mud on it. Sandmane roared as he formed the face to look at him. "You think you can win, you can't. I am sand, I am the ground." His sandstorm picked up, shredding the glass back to sand. Golden Stripes hovered up. Darling said, "There is a part of him that doesn't fall apart, the part holding his mind. We must find and attack that." Zap covered her eyes with her hand as she said, "But he is all around us, everywhere." Lots of sand arms were forming. In the massive sandstorm, Zap was moving quickly, calling in all the rain she could to try and make the arms fall apart, but there was too many. Golden Stripes was slashing her sword to send off energy waves to break them as she said, "This helmet lets me track the enemy. But I am struggling to find the main grain. It's so small and in a massive sandstorm." That is when it appeared along with a message as she said, "Spider-Man, he knows how to track the main grain. And just sent it to this helmet." She smiled as she fired off a blast into a face in the sandstorm. It hit, making the sand arms fall off as the sand screamed in horrible pain, only grazed it. Damn it. The arms reformed to try and grab and crush them. Zap summoned funnels of wind, making a hurricane with her rainstorm to encircle them to keep the sand away. She held her arms out. This is tasking. Take another hot please and make it count. Golden stripes. Zelena nodded as she was charging her sword up for a powerful energy blast. I need time. I need to charge shot it like that game your son likes. I need to charge shot it so the blast is massive enough it takes the main grain out for sure, even if I would have just grazed it. Aurora was looking at her glowing necklace. I have never pushed this thing to this limit. We are protected by a hurricane's eye. Where the wind knocks away the sand. Make this count and quick. Golden Stripes held her sword, pointed it forward and turned to fire off a massive golden energy blast, making it. The blast was powerful. From the outside it broke the sandstorm and kept flying off into space like an anime attack. But on the planet, the sand was falling apart as Sandmane screamed, his sandstorm faces melting as the city was flooded in sand. Zap stopped her hurricane and weather and fell to a rooftop as Golden Stripes landed to help her up. The Pegasus then asked, "Is he dead? Did you kill him?" Golden Stripes shrugged, "No clue. The main grain controls the other grains. It probably housed his soul. I think he controls all this grains by putting a little bit of his soul in them all. He could be dead, he could be mostly dead. But without the main grain he can't move. So if he is still alive he can't move or speak. A fate worse than death. So I hope the effer is dead. For his sake." The zebra then helped up her teammate and Cowife. "Never thought I would say that." She flew off with them both. Zap was clearly tired from her hurricane defense. Meanwhile in the criminal underworld, Mr. Negative was walking around his massive army of gangs united by his powers, all putting on demon mask, grabbing swords and charging them with lighting through the recreated extremist virus. He walked through it as he smiled. It is even more massive than Longface's Inkling army. And they all have power now. They will be grant for our final charge. Sin Eater meanwhile was playing with his new powers. He summoned a black energy construct of a gun. Before sparking with lighting to fly. His tail turned into tendrils, allowing him to summon fun constructs to all of them to hold 10 guns at once. He laughed as he did so. Before turning his left leg into some kind of clay to change it into a spiked hammer foot. He dropped down, shattering the stone. Blacklight Smudge, Electro Main IAC, the Yak Main IAC. And a few Inequins. I am the Sinister One. Mr. Negative then put his hands behind his back. Sinister 2 with me. Before he knew it, a construct of a massive black light lance was driven into his gut and out the back. The construct held by Sin Eater's tail tendrils twisted it as the Sin Eater said, "No Sinister One." Negative fell over as the construct vanished. Black light left him and entered Sin Eater, making the new army of inner demons bow to him. White light left Mr. Negative, revealing a nun-color inverted pony. The good personality that just want to use its healing touch to cure people of cancer was out and free of Mr. Negative. The Sin Eater walked off with his new army. "I have eaten your sins and freed you of Mr. Negative. Enjoy your freedom, Martin." The army was marching. While reports of the villains being depowered were coming in, the inner demon army started their march. Above, the Sin Eater stood on fire and sparking with lighting. His tail morphed into tendrils to hold constructs of guns. His legs morphing into melee weapons through the claw powers as he laughed, his mask forming a mask of hardened bone like plates. As he laughed, from his throat came a red glow. "I have done it. I have absorbed the sins of all the villains, and with them their powers are mine." He laughed, firing his constructs around. "I am the Sinister One. Come out and die, power ponies. This city will go to hell by my demonic might." He then took note of Kindred there to watch the fight, and in a moment a construct of a black light samurai appeared behind the demon and stabbed him in the back. Sin Eater landed and morphed his hands into clay hammers to smash the demon's skulls. "Those powers are mine." With the head smash, horns grow on his head, goat horns signaling he had become a demon by taking the powers of one. On Earth, Harry reappeared alive, well and human, as he got up laughing happily. "It worked. I am human again. Thanks to that fool taking my sins." Now he holds the contract I got for him that Red Devil want to be. Now when Peter beats him he will be free of the contract forever. Able to live his life however he wants on Equus. As Spider-Man and Peter Prancer. He said, walking out spinning into the streets of New York, the happiest guy in the city. His MSTR mind idea to free himself of hell worked. His plan to free Peter's soul worked. Well, will work. He would never know how the battle went, but he believed Peter would come out on top despite the massive power and force Sin Eater had gained. After all, Sin Eater was predictable as SHT. Easy to face and beat. Meanwhile in Meritropolis the power ponies were mostly being handled by the inner demons, keeping them busy. While Spider-Man was flipping and web swinging out of the way of 10 gun constructs being fired at him. The city streets were a riot. Of the inner demons attacking the power ponies. MJ was in the air hovering. It's no good, my badass normal with a sword doesn't work when the blade I clash Arkha shocked to me. I have to fall back. She said, flying away as the she-devil with a sword. Ava was roaring as she jumped out of the way of swords, forget the shock powers, the numbers. She said, running like a scared cat between them. Zaven was even bumbled to block all of them before dropping it to burst out with fire to knock them away, and the healing factor keeps them getting back up. Golden Stripes was clashing energy-charged blade to blade with them, my princess of power as is just fine. Even if I am princess in exile. Antivenom the mayor was grabbing them, the antivenom symbiote sucking away the negative energy along with their powers. I can cure them all, but that'll take time. I can only have 6 tentacles for 8 grabs at once. Trot was holding the side of her head firing off 7 blasts at the inner demons. Kindred outdid his demonic as this time. All the past ones were just to pull us into a false sense of we can handle hell. Radiance was hiding behind a bumble shield while she had constructs of samurai fighting the horde, not that it was false, just this was the sinister 6 we were talking about. 6, not 1 like normal. It was 6 times as bad. The others tire us out. This one takes all their powers after negative gets him an army. Philly second was running at high speed. She was using brace knuckles to quickly shatter swords, but under the brace knuckles were RBB gloves. Unarm them, unarm them. Those that lost their swords dropped the handles and pulled out what looked like sorter swords. OHNO, they have backup blades. Going to take twice as long to unarm them. Mervelis was using her magic shield to block sword strikes. As it was enchanted, the lighting wasn't arching, formed their weapons to shock her like with Shedeville's normal sword. Wait, MJ caught. She said, throwing her the golden magic blade. The Pegasus grabbed it and dropped her normal one, flying down to rejoin the fight now that she wasn't being shocked with each sword clash. Zap was hovering in the air, inner demons with wings around her as she summoned tornado winds to knock them away and away form her herdmates. Crowd control skills are important. Saddle Rager was still in her new form, from the Electro fight, and she was charging, throw, smashing and knocking them away quickly, her new healing factor repairing damage faster than it could last. Now above the skies Spider-Man was swinging form cloud to cloud, avoiding SI Neater's attacks. It landed him at the old Rainbow Factory form, his first adventure here. Peter was jumping back to avoid the blast form, all the gun constructs. His spider sense allowing him to keep it up with the attacks even if he had 12 going at once. Sure, you MSTR Black Light's powers, but he then ducked to avoid a hellfire ball being spat at him, and Kindred. Spider-Man's legs then stabbed what looked like giant centipedes, but I can keep up with this, guys. And Negative's powers don't work on me as I beat them once. All you really got to catch me off guard is a lot of Inequins who didn't even MSTR their powers, he said with an arm wave. Sin Eater Fleck but wings. 5 sets of them, and roared as he grew a second pair of bug arms to shoot with an extra set of guns. But Peter was avoiding fire and killing the familiar summons with his spider legs as he said, really Sin Eater, also you should know I always have a backup. While on paper I don't have any more symbiote codex, having feed them to antivenom. He then used his tail to flick a SWCH. I stored a few here, he said, making the belt on the factory go as what looked like a jar of symbiote biomass mixed with liquid rainbow appeared, a rainbow symbiote. The demon fired on it, breaking it as he said, that won't help you Spider, you have limits, soon you won't be able to avoid my fire. The broken glass did not stop the spider as he jumped to it. With his "why I'm taking a gamble," the symbiote tried to cover him, but he held out his hand, moving it there where it took on the form of a rainbow symbiote biomass sword as big as Spider-Man was tall. He cracked it and in a moment slashed it. The shock wave cut the factory in half, making it fall onto the cloud and knock Sin Eater back. The new demon looked down, a slash on his chest bleeding to his shock. Peter swung out holding the rainbow blade with his left hand. "Let me introduce you to the highest form of symbiote, the necrosword able to decapitate celestials," he said, dropping holding it sideways to absorb fire. Before turning it right to allow his fall to land a stab on Sin Eater's chest right through him. "So you stood no chance against one." He kicked off of Sin Eater, landing on side of a building with his necrosword in hand. Watching as light exploded out of the demon above in a shock wave of light. The inner demons below lost their negative energy, making them pass out, as the dark force energy flow up to join with the forming cloud of sin above the city as Sin Eater lay dying. Peter jumped down, standing with the power ponies, some of them looking at the sword as he said, "It's a symbiote, highest form of symbiote there is. But it won't last much longer. It's to patch work for that." It worked and took down Sin Eater, but what is happening now I do not know. Before long Sin Eater was just in the wind as the cloud of light and sin formed a face to let out a roar as it turned into a lightning bolt and head for Spider-Man, who held the blade sideways absorbing the blast. In a moment all the power ponies grabbed onto him, making them all glow with the necrosword. In the tower Peter's contract was burning away now. The escaped claws meet Peter's soul was free. He beat the demon. But outside the necrosword grew massive inside, and with one final swing it slashed the cloud of sin in half, making it explode like fireworks all over the world. It was raining sin and dark force energy all over Equus. The stuff seemed to vanish as soon as it hit the ground. It was a stunning effect for sure, but still. Peter looked at himself and the others. Nothing was happening after all. Everyone has a few sins, it's no big deal as long as you are still a good person. As this was running in his head, the necrosword shattered into energy and vanished, all used up. When it stopped they all rushed to the tower and opened the desk drawer in Peter's office. There was the almost completely gone contract. They all watched as it burned away, vanishing for good, the contract beaten. Spider-Man had defeated hell itself this night. Above a rooftop the Maker was clapping at the sight. "You erased all the old villains, nicely done, Peter. And the necrosword didn't see you prepping with one of those. But now it is my turn as your archenemy, not you, best friend Harry." The following day the city was in ruins, its heroes helping clean up the damages. Flurry Heart was using magic to lift up fallen buildings. "I don't get it, my dad uses one and it's demonic armor that makes him a monster, but Spider-Man uses one and it's a holly blade of justice." Main Spider was using his arms to help clean up. Warlock took his students out to help and he said, "My dad was a hero and yours the villain." The symbiote only copy personality of hosts. And with will one can override that. Dark Devil was using a flaming net line to lift it up almost a whole building's worth of rubble as a truck backed up to get it. The mare driver looked to a billboard and rolled her eyes. "Could have ruined that I score." Spiderling looked to see Peter Prancer billboard advertising his scholarship for gifted colts. "Someone is sexist," she said as the truck driver left her nose stuck up. Billy was crawling around ruins, digging through them, where he grabbed some pony's hand and start helping people out of a bunker as he said, "One at a time. Foals first, no pushing. Come on now, and no pushing." He then used his tail to knock a pony who was pushing the line forward back down. Elsewhere, Saddle Rager was loading up large peels of broken building into trucks as she asked, "Did any pony know Spider-Man had a codex stash?" Zap put her hands on her peach. "I did. I helped him hide them just in case we need a necroblade while dealing with Kindred's messes. And we did. But that's all over and done. All the villains in the city are depowered. No more Kindred screwing with us. No more big bad best friend," she said happily. MJ shouldered her sword as she walked up. The she-devil with a sword said, "Yeah, but what about the Maker? In case you did not notice, he has been on a villain-making kick. With his auctions." Zaven was using a stone fist and stretched arm to load up the construction trucks. "I most agree, the Maker is still on the loose. As RBB body is the one power he did not show. And plus the maker is only a pony in shape. He is one big super organ. Darling's necroblade slashes won't have worked on Sin Eater if he had the maker's power set. We have the most dangerous one on the loose. Masked Matterhorn was using magic to make the remains of buildings break apart into dust and blow away, yeah. But he is only here as a singularity is forcing part of itself on this. It shouldn't be that hard to figure out a way to block the singularity. Philly second rushed up screaming, "It is horrible," she panted pointing back behind her, it was gross, slimy and wiggly. They all blinked as Mervelis walked up. "You just described spoiled jelly," she said stunned but jumped. There walking up to them in the middle of the day was the maker. All got in a fighting stance but the maker laughed. When Saddle Rager charged he stretched his left index finger to strike her neck making her fall over, pressure point strike. He had his arms behind his back, now this is a challenge. He walked, "I have use of every universe in the multiverse," he was circling them, "I have use of all that information and inventory. But I will admit a necrosword I didn't think a Peter had it in him." He then held a hand out, "I look forward to testing you all," he then vanished. He appeared in a base smirking at his new creation's 3 mutated zebra mares all with dreadlocks. The first one had red fur, yellow glowing eyes dark red stripes. She was dressed in a black tank top and short shorts. On her back was red wings, she had talons on her fingers formed the knee down, she had green bird feet. She held her hands up and fired energy blasts up laughing as the maker said, "Glad you are enjoying your powers my harpy." To the left the mare dressed in same outfit was hovering sparking with lighting with pure white glowing eyes, she had glowing yellow fur and darker yellow glowing fur. The mare smiled as she summoned a lighting ball to fire off, "Oh thank you maker. Your Axon loves her new powers." The next mare looked mostly normal, she was in a black knack top cargo pants in green and black boats. While she looked normal she turned to show her left side covered in blue scales in the style of a bomb. She looked at her claw and said, "How come I only got powers on one side of my body?" Her left A-bomb eye staring at him. The maker walked and said, "It was one of those unexpected setbacks, just use your left side as a shield bash fighting style. Use it to block as it's where you have a healing factor, and the super strength mess. Now my Gamma Corp, are you ready?" The harpy flapped over, "To kill Zelina so the Golden Stripes power can go to the current leader F yeah." Mess rolled her eyes putting her hands on her peach as she saw her mutant hand had one less finger, "Yeah, and take down that zony white tiger as well." Axon was hovering smirking, "It's 3 of us to 2 of those bees. In the ruined city." Later on while still helping clean up Golden Stripes as with White Tiger when the flyer stopped, "I sense murder stares on me." In a moment the harpy fly out knocking her down with a brid-like scream. Ava got up and jumped only to be zapped by Axon hovering over with a smirk. When the White Tiger hit ground Mess grabbed her into a headlock with her mutant arm, "I bet my one super strong arm can make your brain pop out." Harpy fired off 2 energy bullets, 1 from each hand, and Golden Stripe span her sword to block them. "What the hell are we fighting?" Whitey Tiger clawed the normal hip of Mess making her let go in pain as she jumped back seeing her bleed, "Looks like a Gamma Corp." A group of Solider given Gamma-powered DNA copied formed the real ones. Or bootleg supervillains. The Tiger jumped to avoid a lighting blast form the hovering Axon, knock off. Coming form a Zoni that is Rich B. The Tiger jumped up the wall of a still-standing building to avoid lighting as Mess ripped off part of her left pants leg to bandage her bleeding hip, "F it. I only got half powers." She then grabbed a large chunk of fallen building to throw at Golden Stripes in the air. The Princess in Exile flew out of the way only to be knocked down by a wing slap from the charging harpy sending her rocketing to the ground. Before Golden Stripes had a time to get up Axon held out her hands to lighting zap her as she screamed, "Aya!" Golden Stripes screamed in rage as she was being hit making a flash of light come form her sword. The light seemed to blind Gamma Corp. When they regained sight Selena and Ava had vanished. Harpy was roaring, "They escaped on us, fan out, we can't let them get away." The 3 super zebra mares split apart. Elsewhere in a ruined building the two power ponies were hiding. Golden Stripes was panting, "That flare took way too much out of me. We can't handle this bees on our own and we are too far form back up. We need to divide them so we can use numbers. The weakest has to be Mess, she is only super on half her body." Ava then spoke up, "And Axon has the same powers as Electro, so let's assume we can overload her to beat her. That just leaves the Harpy." Zelena looked around a corner to see Mess looking around, "Does not matter right now." She held her sword and said, "I get her focus, you sneak up and claw her normal side." She jumped out firing off sword beams at her. Mess raised her super arm to block as she charged at her. But in moments Ava jumped down and landed two claw stripes to the normal side of her back, making Mess fall over screaming in pain. She was unable to move from the injuries and soon passed out. Golden Stripes held her sword and used a blast to burn close the wounds on her back. "There, you won't bleed out, a prison hospital will heal you up." The two striped Maras of Justice gave each other's thumbs up as Whitey Tiger said, "One down, two to go." Elsewhere in the ruined city Axon was hovering through it using lighting to pick up and move the metal-filled stone. "Where are you two?" she declared with a rage. The yellow glowing mare noticed her glow starting to fade and she looked to a store and quickly drained the power from the batteries inside it to restore it. "No power grid online. This is a bad place for me." Watching it form behind a building, Ava looked to Golden Stripes. "She needs to charge her powers, she can't make her own," she said with a whisper. Golden Stripes smiled, "So no energy shots, just wear her down." She then flew out making Axon 4 lighting. Whitey Tiger jumped out avoiding lighting blasts as well as Golden Stripes commented, "Can't hit us. Your numbers may have helped but Mess went down easy." Axon screamed, lighting storming out of her, "What did you do to our little sister?" Whitey Tiger jumped back to a rooftop avoiding a lighting blast, "So they are sisters." The avoid her blast plan was working as soon enough Axon's glow faded, leaving her looking like a normal zebra mare, no power to fuel her superpowers. White Tiger jumped, landed a two-hooved kick to her head, knocking her out, taking down 2 of Gamma Corp. Golden Stripes laughed happily, "That just leaves Harpy. Let's get this raging she-demon." Elsewhere in the area, Harpy was using a walkie-talkie to try and contact her sisters. "Mess, Axon pick up," she declared worried. Mess, who was still unable to stand up, grabbed her talkie. "They tricked us. They divided to conquer. I am injured, the normal side of my back slashed. They burned it closed but I still can't stand." Harpy's eyes widened as Axon talked up on hers. "They drained me of my power. Big sister, without your Gamma Blast for quick recharges I was left powerless and now I have a black eye and a broken jaw," she said, holding half of her face. "Oh damn it, why can't my healing factor work while not charged up? I can't move, too stunned and damaged." Harpy growled as she put it up and roared, "Come out and face me, you cowards." Moments later Golden Stripes with her sword glowing charged out behind her. Harpy turned to use her claws to hold it back as she made her hands glow. "Got you." Zelena dropped down to avoid the energy blast she was firing, but at that moment Ava jumped out, landing her claws at the base of Harpy's wings. Harpy screamed in a bird-like hawk. Ava quickly grabbed on and gave the wing slashes to damage them. She would heal, but she need to damage them enough to leave her ground for a hit. The Harpy fell as Ava grabbed them straight and pulled till she heard a snap. She then jumped off and used her claws to hold on to the side of a roof. While Harpy she fell to the ground, her wings hanging limp behind her as she got up. "Oh UFBs. She made her hands glow. "I still have strength and my energy beams plus claws," she said, charging at Golden Stripes only for the good mare to fly out of the way. Zelena then held her sword with 2 hands and charged down, the blade charged with energy. As Harpy fired her beams, only for the charged sword to slash right through them as she came down, landing a slash to Harpy's stomach. The slash wasn't what made the Harpy fall but the shock of the power beams being slashed. Golden Stripe then passed out, too tired to stand after charging her blade that much for a power slash. Ava sighed as she jumped down to throw her team and herd mate over her shoulder to carry her home. Gamma Corp would be jailed the day it was won. But the maker still left his mark. Later at the tower, Zelina in her normal outfit was looking at her sword where her suit and powers came formed to point to a nick in it. For thousands of years nothing was able to damage this blade, and bam, those bees do it. Not much, but still it's the point of it. Mary Allen was the only other mare in the room they were in as she said, "Yeah, and just think, this is the Maker's first move to fill the power void by Kindred's plan leading to a purge of the supervillain's powers by way of the Necrosword. That thing, I can't get it out of my mind. All this symbiote events lead to that sword being made and used when it was need." The zebra held her hand out as she said, "I am worried. Maker isn't a normal big bad. He doesn't want to rule, doesn't want money. He just wants to evolve us. To change us all whether we like it or not. Change or be replaced. He is mad. Mad, I tell you." Mary sighed, "Let's just hope Peter's way to block the Maker will work, or we will get another break or something. Peter was in his lab with Spruce in normal form, we can't block him." Spruce then looked at the results. "I know. I would say we go face him in his mind's base void, but could we even damage that? I mean, his bodies are just ponynoid abominations. But his mind would not have physical form, it would be some kind of energy. Maybe we could make a machine to absorb the energy before the signals can reach his bodies, leaving him paralyzed." Peter smiled as he said, "That works." It was a clam day in the city. It was little Richard's second birthday. The little foal was smiling while opening gifts and getting lots of hugs from his family. A peaceful day, something they need after recent events, but they know something had to be bubbling under the surface. Later that night as they went to sleep, Peter's last thought was on not trusting the Maker running loose. That night, however, would be a big problem. Peter soon found himself in his burning tower, unable to find any pony, but he stopped his spider sense going off in an all too familiar way. "Okay, cut the SHT nightmare." The dream demon appeared as he said, "You are no fun, Peter. You kill all the fun of being the Lord of Nightmares." Spider-Man's wrist stingers came out. "This are anti-magic." He charged but quickly turned as Nightmare vanished and appeared what was behind him, but now he had a stinger to his throat. "And I know you too much, I don't even need the spider sense to counter and stab you with them." The dream demon had his arms up. Okay, be cool, man," he said, "bring them to the void between dreams. I was just having a little fun, I am here on business right now, man." The Maker is sick of not understanding magic. He views it as being able to end him with your plan can work by the way of going to where he really is. But here is the thing. He is gunning for me. I am like him, a singularity, it's me, Mojo, and the Maker. We are all ourselves, one mind, many bodies through the multiverse. Peter holding the stinger, "So you are the logical choice for studying magic." The dream demon then said, "Yeah, vague, but he stole a dream machine from this world. And figured out how to use his mind to become lucid enough to dream walk and chase me." The Maker showed up clapping, "And I have. A meeting between singularity will make it so the stronger-willed one will absorb the weaker one. I just need to touch Nightmare and I will have his power." He stretched only for Nightmare to vanish for good. The evil Reed said, "But he keeps doing that. Work with me, Spider. We were friends once upon a time in our respective universe. Give me magic and I will leave this world alone." Peter instead charged and landed a stinger strike to his chest, making the Maker gasp, "Yeah, no. This world isn't high-tech enough to meet your view of perfect. Everyone may have powers, but there isn't tech. You won't leave it alone. Just like almost perfect copy of your universe isn't good enough for you." The Maker tried to stretch as Peter said, "And here is the thing about the dream realm. You are in my dream. My head. I call the shots here. Nightmare can try and trick me. But you aren't as good as him," he said, not removing his stinger. The Maker was screaming, light coming from his mouth as he said, "How is this affecting me? I have no magic." "Wait, the machine is magic tech and all have some magic in them. So those stingers can affect me." The Maker clapped as he said, "I will remember this and avoid them, Peter." The spider fired a webline, "You think I plan on giving you the chance? they swung forward in to avoid the maker screaming again as Peter said, "I flipped this into your head, you can't take the edge off as my stinger is too much pain for you. Only reason you are still standing is what I am stabbing is nothing, is it?" The reed then laughed and said, "Why yes it is." The maker then awoke and making Peter awake. The maker sat up, his helmet altered with gems for the dream walking. He walked up, hands behind his back. "Oh Peter, I never thought you would be this close to a match for me." He then walked forward stating, "You know more about magic and have it in your power set. You are beyond my knowledge to strike against." He tapped his helmet as he said, "So I most do research just as you are doing on taking the fight to the true me." He then walked into a room. "I think it is time for another auction, or better yet move the battlefield." He then pulled it out, the reality stone. In a wave the world was changed. In the new alternate reality, Peter, a fabric black suit with red replacing white, was swinging. He stopped, his stinger popped and he stabbed his left arm, regaining his memories. "Okay maker, you want to play reality warping," he said, looking to a side for Queen Necronag wearing the reality stone as a crown jewel. "I will bring back the normal reality. But for that I need the power ponies." "Okay, the mayor isn't the mayor. Zelenia would be back in Zebrica, the girl's form. Earth would still be on Earth here. So just the classic 6. He swung up, coming to Philly second, robbing a bank. Her costume was red with black arrows, but in a moment Peter grabbed her leg with webs, pulled her in and stabbed her arms, making her scream, "What the hell, spider, a." In a moment Philly second glow, getting her memories of the real timeline back. No. We need to put this right." She dropped the money and took off with Spider-Man. The next one to get the sting was Saddle Rager, who in the altered reality just had a black bikini for a costume. She was stung and came back. Up next, Zap Saddle Rager had to hold her still. The mare had a shaved mohawk, black tank top, black jeans, boots and a jean jacket, but she was stung, returned to normal-minded. Zap looked at herself, "Okay, this has got to end." The next power pony to get a reality check was Mare Velas. The mare was dressed in a white demon mask and a tunic with golden sandals, wrist bounce belt. With sword and shield. One sneaky sting to the back. She dropped the mask and said, "What took you so long for that? Now let's bring our foes back." Philly second said, "Yeah, we still have 2 members to get back." Clearly this infinite stone CRP is starting with reality. Later on at Necronag's palace, she sat on her throne, her eyes bandaged, but her 2 main guards ran out. The royal guard, armor wearing, masked Matterhorn and Radiance, came out to see the others standing. Radiance summoned constructive guards. "You bees would try this." They were only facing the power pony Maris. Philly second ran with speed, avoiding them as Zap fired lightning, zapping Philly second's metal gloves, letting her shock Radiance, knocking her out. Masked Matterhorn, well, who would have been her, fired off energy beams rapidly to stop it. But in a moment she screamed as a stinger went into her arm. The spider said, "Sorry love." He then stung the knocked out Radiance, bring her back. The 7 main power ponies then went into the throne room. Peter fired a webline, pulling the crown off Necronag, and in a moment there was a flash. Reality was normal. Everyone was talking about it in the tower while working on breakfast. Peter holding the reality stone. Soul, mind, power, time and space are left. Why does it always come down to this? In the tower, Mary Aka Marvelous was looking at the vault with held the reality stone. "I could brings them back." Mary Jane walked up and said, "You know that would be wrong. It won't be real. Just like that fake reality we just escaped." The Philizon breathed a sigh of sadness. "You are right, MJ. This infinite gem thing is just so stupid," she said as MJ lead her away from the stone. MJ then said, "Besides, the stone for resurrection is soul." The Philizon's eyes widened as she said, "Say what?" Little did they know they just opened a floodgate. Below them was the now powerless and blind Necronag in the sewer, feeling the wall to move about. "Lost my powers, lost the stone the maker gave me. Without my powers I can't even see." She then felt it. She was still a unicorn and sensed magic. She ran off to it, falling ever once in a wall till her hand in the sewer water grabbed it and picked it up. "It's the same as that stone I was given in the altered reality." She smiled, holding it. She held it close. "It feels like my old powers." She said using the stone she said, my by necro nag hand raise my eyes, her empty eye sockets then gained new eyes the color of the stone. She could see, yes, she got up jumping, I have it. The soul stone. Yes. She walked off declaring, race Philizons minus the queen and the one killed to make her. Come and continue your attack. Above the Philizons appeared back in the middle of their attack form Philizons attack making the power ponies move out. Merveillous was swinging her rope around roping them, ladies the queen is not here. You can go home you were given life back by the soul stone. One of the Maras said, and what if the holder takes it away? We are slaves to their will and Necro Nag wants the power ponies dead. Meanwhile below in the sewers. Spiderling Flurry Heart Billy Connors and Dark Devil were walking around. Flurry was watching her step, gross duty water. They then saw the glow of the stone. They head out and there was Necro Nag holding the stone right as she smiled, I am a necromancer again. Children you will not stop me. Moments later what looked like shining armor appeared charging to swing his sword only for Dark Devil to hold it back with flaming shield as she said, this one is mine. The rest charged off leaving Dark Devil to chase after Necro Nag. While running the Nag looked back and called out, okay give me the man-hater. Antras then appeared jumping after Billy and Spiderling in rage. Billy used his tail to whack her shield as May webbed and removed her sword grabbing it and holding it, Flurry run for it. Flurry flow after Necro Nag and in a moment used magic to pull on the stone pulling it to her. Necro Nag turned around using her horn to pull it back to her making a magic tug of war for it. But in a moment a shining two-dimensional clamp grabbed it as Video Main walked out of a tunnel he said, good thing Warlock sent us out to help, holding the soul stone he declared, okay undo it all. Everyone revived vanished as did Necronag's eyes she screamed back in the dark button side and said, sometime it sucks to be the good guy okay give her left eye back. The mare regained an eye and cried tears of guy at sight while holding herself and shaking. Later on Merveillous was getting off the ex-pony Blackbird jet Warlock handing her the soul stone. They were on an island with no pony on it. Are you sure you wish to give them life again self-friend Merveillous, self has only seen them as wicked? Merveillous held the soul stone and smiled, Alfalfa was made to be a paradise. It can be that way. I want you to bring back the Philizons who are good pure of heart want to treat stallions as equal the ones who were forced into evil by following orders bring them back O mighty soul stone. The stone glow as what looked like 20 Philizons appeared cheering Merveillous smiled as they all bowed to her, none of this queen business and no more no stallions on the island. This place was supposed to be a paradise so make it that way. She said getting on board the jet and leaving with Warlock driving it. Warlock while flying, you do not wish to stay among them self-friend Merveillous. While hooking herself and Merveillous flipped and caught the soul stone, see that's the thing I thought about it but they want to guard and protect that island their home. While I missed me ponies that ain't's my home. My home is Prancer Tower with my herd and our foals. I am debating bring Charlotte here in a few years. I mean she will probably be a spider not a Philizon. Little did she know right now in school Charlotte in a sailor fuchsia like the other Maras was walking into the sword fighting club to join it with a smile. The little mare would be a Philizon with the power of a spider. Meanwhile in a blank void. Deadpool popped up to say, hello now that's 2 stones gotten. We know this is ending Infinity Gauntlet. To face the Maker. And we are 2/3 there. We know he won't go down without a fight now that the gems are here. Before she could say more a stretched hand covered her mouth and the arm wrapped around her holding her tight like a snake. The Maker walked up, my Deadpool is less talkative and more serious. So let me say this to all you out there. There are 4 stones to be found. But they will not be this easy to get. The writer just want to wrap up the loose ends Merveillous arc. But now that is done. I am bringing an old headache form Spider-Man's life given though. Deadpool managed to hit her teleporter belt to vanish form the Maker's grip. In Maritropolis the sun had set and crawling out of a dark corner was the Spider-Man doppelganger the Mind Stone upon his head. He sniffed and spoke, Mine though. I think therefore I am, he said, firing a line of razor wire webbing off to web swing, making the ponies all scream at the monster that was copying Spider-Man before them. He landed on side of a building using his razor wire webbing to pull a news camera to his face as he said, "Hello Spidey. Remember me, the living mathematical fraction forced into a monster copy of you? Well, as you can see, I have the Mind Stone. I know all now. I know who you are. I know where you love. I know where you foals sleep. So if you wish to keep them safe, and yes you do, you will meet me above this building at dawn. For a simple showdown. 2 spiders enter, 1 leaves. After all, if you win you can use the Mind Stone to know how to break my mathematical formula to end me." His voice sound high-class, startling, coming from a monster. He then dropped the camera, making it crash and break as he crawled up to the top of the building to wait. In Canterlot, Deadpool was using her swords to hold back machete-owning street thugs blocking their stripes while singing to herself before landing a few kicks to knock them away as she said, "Oh, one gangbanger." She then elbowed one in the fast, one hood straight from the 90s, she then ducked and jumped up, head butting one away, and one whose jaw I broke. She then finished up and put her swords up and comment, "Oh hello dear readers." As she walked off she said, "I didn't see you there." But with this infinity arc the reader thought we need a break from it and a focus on other areas. She then hit her teleporter, appearing in her home and walking behind a light, coming out in a hot backless sideless red dress, red stockings, red heels, red sleeve-like gloves, and she put on ear-rings, "But it won't be for me. This nice plot is going with my herd on a date night with our husband." She shook her backside as she walked out and gave it a slap, "Have to assert my dominance as alpha female after all over the monster hunters and mutant lady. He. She then walked off petting Ellie and Tiara's heads. "Now you two watch Cherry and remember if anything is wrong with Cherry when we get back." Deadpool went from fun and silly to serious scary. "You will be punside." The 2 stepsisters jumped and hugged as their mother went back to normal and she kissed their heads, "Bye-bye sweeties." Wanda then left with the rest of her herd to see the other wives in the same dress as her. "Well, guess this will be who gets home alone first tonight at the gala." When they were gone Ellie said, "Our moms are scary when they go into heat." Tiara nodded and in a moment went to go check on Cherry. The little filly, who was now 4, was sitting in the floor of her playroom in a white shirt, red overalls, stacking blocks happily. Her big sisters sat down to play with her and watch her, Wanda's scary face haunting them. Elsewhere in the city, in a hiding place, Neon Brush was growling as he ran, "Lost my powers, this isn't right. I worked hard for those sins and the powers they got me." He growled as he ducked into a dumpster as a cop car drove by. When the coast was clear he got out growling, "This is not right. If only I had power." That is when he saw it, in the trash can. A piece of red slime. He smirked as it moved. Well, looks like the extremes didn't get you all, did it?" he said, holding the slime that tried to mimic an enraged roar. Neon grabbed it and jumped out, running to a manhole cover to jump into sewers where Mr. Negative once united the gangs. He ran smirking. "I know he had it," he said, finding the meeting place. He then started destroying every object he found till he found it a batter, and he smirked. It was inverted colors, negative energy battery. "You were planning for Sin Eater to turn against you. So when Negative resurfaced he would come here and use this to get his powers back." He then threw the slime onto the battery, making it scream as it was shocked, growing and turning blue as it screamed, covering Neon Brush. The former henchman laughed heavily as he took on a color event version of Carnage, blue, white bone-like markings, white teeth fused into white markings on the mask, leaving him with a badged mouth, and empty black voids of tar for eyes. The symbiote roared in rage as it laughed, "Anti-Carnage lives. Anti-Carnage, ha ha ha." He moped his hands into axes as he laughed, "Perfect baby, we are anti-Carnage." He then started slashing things up. "Ha ha 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 ha, let's get UE to this before going out being a supervillain." He then wrecked the area, testing his new powers, happily laughing insane. For Carnage was back as a reverse symbiote, none of the weakness that make him easy to handle. Later on at the gala. Spoiled, Wanda, Inez, and Elsa had all had a turn dancing with Filthy, who was looking nervous. He knew his wives enough to know they were competing again. With make this an equally wonderful yet dangerous time. That is when Anti-Carnage swung in, roaring and laughing. "Carnage lives," he said, using spikes to knock the rich people to the side as he pointed a claw at the door. "No pony leaves unless you hand over the jewels," he said, morphing his other hand in the bag, and said, "Line up. Any holds out get their throats cut." His other hand became an axe. As the rich wives give off their jewels and whatnot, Wanda asked, "Yeah, you going to do the thing?" Spoiled whispered back, "My powers don't work like that, it needs to be a mutant and the shock knockout. I tried it 2 minds, the other took over." Outlaw crossed her arms, "And we are unarmed, great. Being held captive by Carnage." In a moment Filthy was handing over his wallet and Anti-Carnage licked him the symbiote, saying, "Now that is a backside we could tear like it was a mare's." Filthy paled and gulped as he said, "Help me." Carnage had an axe to his neck, "But I think it would be more fun if you didn't have a head to talk back with." In a moment Inez threw a table at Carnage, knocking him away. "You leave our husband alone." Carnage bite the table on top of him in half, spitting the wood shards out like bullets as he heard the sounds of cop cars and rushed out. His wooden bullets didn't hit any pony, but he said, "Yes, I have cops to kill." While heard Rich huddled Filthy, shaking the women holding him on fire in rage at Anti-Carnage. Wanda pulled from her handbag her teleporter belt. "In the chaos we vanish, then we sooty up ladies, then we come and geld and kill the new Carnage in that order." They all nodded on fire. Within 10 minutes cop cars were slashed in half, officers bleeding, some missing limbs, when Deadpool, Outlaw Now Girl and BLD Stone all appeared. Wanda had her swords. "We are gelding you as. Because you tried to go for some pony else's when they said no." He charged, going in for a slash, but Carnage grew a spike from his gut that went right through Deadpool, who still finished her slash to land 2 swords in his head. "You think I give a f about that?" Carnage knocked her away, making her drop her swords, with he pulled out, grabbing and covered in symbiote biomass as he opened his mouth as BLD Stone and Outlaw's fire. He swallowed the bullets, then spat them back out as explosive shuriken, thanks to biomass, making them all jump. No Girl meanwhile was hiding, trying to give Carnage a seizure, but she had to do it. The symbiote and the host Odie make a difference, if only he was spread more thin. May as Spider-Mare was swinging through Canterlot. "Thanks to work I missed the gala and have to hear about what happened on the news," informed the girls. After firing 1 webline, she came in, landing a 2 kick to the side of Carnage's head right when he was about to slash No Girl, or No Mare now. May flipped and landed on side of a building, reverse or not. It's still using its biomass for attacks. She then web swung out of the way of Anti-Carnage, sending out a wave of red spikes by punching the ground. The symbiote was clearly fast to recover. No Girl nodded and ran away. Make it use itself out. She noticed a chemical store and said, "My powers might not be able to work, but this can help out with a little common sense." Deadpool meanwhile had her guns out and ducked to avoid her own biomass-covered swords. "Carnage, if it can eat and spit bullets back as throwing stars, this is going OTSCK." She then fired all she had, only for it to be spat back as throwing stars as she screamed, "FFF." She said, rolling bleeding from them, "F." Bloodstone and Outlaw fired too, but ducked behind buildings as Carnage spat them out. May then used a web line to land a downward kick, thanks to a flip that hit Carnage on the back of the head before she fired a web behind her. She pulled it, avoiding the symbiote biomass-covered katanas just barely. Carnage raged, "I want to kill, eat brains." He screamed loudly, making all the ponies cover their ears before he dropped the swords, making them return to normal. He then grabbed a police car and threw it at Deadpool, smashing her. Wanda then let out a scream of "asshole." Meanwhile No Mare was on the rooftop throwing a canister off it at Carnage, who out of reflex turned his hand into an axe to slash it. There was then a burst of sub-zero air as the symbiote was flashed frozen by what was inside of it. No Mare smirked, "Liquid nitrogen, nothing colder." She smiled and laughed as the ice cracked as Carnage roared, spikes growing from him, shattering the ice, but the mutant in spoiled Rich's former body yelled out, "A little underdressed Carnage." The villain looked down and noticed his left leg form, the knee down was normal, no symbiote covering. May smiled as she used a web line to pick up a manhole cover and swing it around, making a makeshift flail that she swung Carnage's away, making him cut it apart with hot claw slash. He is running out of biomass, ladies, keep it. Deadpool got out from under the car and crawled, grabbing one of her discarded katanas. Oh, I am pissed. I was a sure win tonight. But now it will probably be no second-hand bod or spider bee, she said, growling as she threw her sword, and it landed right in the knot-covered leg. Carnage screamed, using his hands to point at it as he screamed, a, before ripping it out and covering it in biomass and firing a webline to swing over, where he happily stabbed Deadpool in the left shoulder. Wanda crossed her arms, really, as I am full of holes right now. My healing factor will make me pretty again soon, but F you, she said, flipping Carnage the bird twice, and F this double-length post two-parter. A symbiote axe hand hit her in the head. She fell over, saying, I double down now. When my spin regrows, she said as the symbiote used the katana to stab her in the back. Moments later, No Girl threw another container at his back. Thanks to reflex, Carnage turned and slashed it with the katana, only to be flash frozen again. In a moment he broke out, same as before, the sword shatter, but he fell down thanks to the leg injury. He tried to web it up, but he noticed the leg was totally not covered and the right arm was uncovered from the hand to the elbow. How are you bees doing this? May used a web line to grab and pull Deadpool's other katana to her as she threw it, making it land in the arm. The symbiote screamed. Carnage fell over bleeding as his symbiote hand pulled out the weapon, covered it with mass again as he hissed, I will kill some pony before losing. Outlaw picked up and threw a car at him, only for him to slash it in half, but in that moment Bloodstone pulled out a small revolver and fired on the injured leg, making Carnage scream. No Girl meanwhile was throwing another one, last one, it hit Carnage up the head, breaking this time. When the symbiote broke free, the only thing left of the reverse symbiote was a corner of the mask. Neon Brush panted before grabbing it, making it a knife to throw, hitting the downed Deadpool in the head again. As the symbiote died, Wanda said, someone retreat my last sword. And get me home to heal. I am pissed off. Formed this two-part storyline. Later on, when Deadpool was healed, she as Wanda was hugging Filthy, and they gave me the win for how beat the SHT I was. Yes, still alpha female. She then kissed her husband and knocked him over onto the bed and got on top. Now you relax and let your alpha wife chase away the Carnage nightmares. Meanwhile, Peter was swinging to a rooftop in his exoskeleton. It had been a while since he needed it, and he stood before Doppelganger. Peter charged out 4 spider legs and 2 wrist stingers, holding back 6 arms of claws. Armored hide, blacking sharp claws, as the copy said, about time this happened. My adopted father. Carnage's return was fun, but the wait is over. Time for our battle. Peter jumped back and his exoskeleton's jaw opened, making him hiss as he charged, diving and landing a bite to the ganger's waist as he span his body, making his 4-leg blade slash the damaged waist in half. The demonic copy that was living math landed, using its lower set of arms as legs to walk and charge at him. Really, I am normal, the savage one, Peter. However, a moment later Kane jumped in and grabbed the Mind Stone and jumped off, and you can't tell the difference between me and him. So tricked you. The monster hissed, now feral again. With at that point Peter shattered his exoskeleton, returning to normal as he smiled, using metal blades to hack him to pieces. It would survive sadly, but it would be gone for a while. Peter then took the stone form Kane, thanks Kane, and glad Carnage distracted it. In the dark of the night above Meritropolis, Zaven was flying in the air, holding her shield up to block strikes from Black Light using massive hammer constructs. She asked, how did you get your powers back? Black Light smirked as he turned the hammers into axes. Isn't it simple? Some stallion found the power stone bee. He is restoring all of us. Every last one for working for him. He wants me to kill a power pony. So why not the head nag of Herd Spider-Man? The Skrull in changeling flesh blinked as she flew out of the way and turned her left arm to stone and covered it in fire. She swung it with a spin, stretching it to use as a flail as she said, head nag. Black Light made one massive black energy shield to block it, Please, we saw how the brats take to you in times together, how you seem to take charge in lesser moments. You were the first add-on to the team, so clearly he puts value on you. Zaven's stone covered her other arm and vanished using all 4 powers at once. Unseen flaming stretched stone fist strikes hit the guy as he had no idea where to block. The bad guy roared as he made a black energy bubble to cover all places, only to be knocked down to the street his shield may have held, but he still hit the back of it with enough force to be knocked out, making it fall down. Zaven, back in her zebra form and outfit, reappeared, leaving the scene holding her chin. Alpha female, she said, looking at herself and blinking. The next day she thought of it. She always got you Pearl Ido make lunch bags for the offspring. And having seen them out to the school bus, Zaven blinked and looked to Masked Matterhorn. Black Light stated, I was the alpha female of this herd. Masked Matterhorn put a hand on her hip and said, well, did you not plan out our patrol areas with Peter while searching for the stone? She nodded and then added, did you not care for the foals as much as their BRTH moms? Zaven blinked as she added, and you work on his inventions with him as well. It's either you or Saddle Rager. Later on, while on patrol together in costume, Zaven the super changeling and Saddle Rager overheard people asking which of them was first mare and with one of them was second mare. The two looked at each other and Zaven said, this debate has to end, she said firmly, making a fist with her left hand. Saddle Rager smirked as she crossed her arms and smiled, oh hell yeah. Roof of the tower now. First to leave the rooftop lose. That includes flying. Later on, the Changeling and the Pegasus were on top of the roof, fists up. Spruce charged, going in for a punch, only for Zaven to make her fist stone and counter them by covering her stone fists with flames. Rager just grabbed the flaming stone and smirked as she crushed it, making the shapeshifter scream, I am Gamma hot. Gamma is hellfire. You can't burn me, be so cut out the fire play. It's a waste of time and energy. She then headbutt Zaven back. The Changeling was sent rocketing back, but she stopped herself with an invisible wall at the edge, keeping her on the rooftop. Then I shall forget fire, she made the flames end as she turned invisible. Saddle Rager looked around and in a moment her ear twitched and she turned a sound confirming her fist hit something unseen and made of stone with a smirk, may not be a bat pony anymore but still got their hearing, I can hear your footsteps. And, she held out her other hand, stopping another unseen fist form the other side, you're stretching may dice a sound when you change directions, I heard the turn for that. Zaven became visible, she had one fist punching Rager and the other arm stretched around, both blocked by her fist. The pony then slapped Zaven in the face with a wing. Zaven was knocked back but held her chin at bleeding green for a moment before she smirked happily, oh Rager, so 2 of my powers are useless. Rager then charged, going in for rapid punch, but they won't make it to her, can still use the unseen shields though they don't make a sound. Rager start gasping for air, Zaven sighed, make you pass out, form lack of air and roll you off. For the win. Rager growled and clapped her hands, sending off a loud shock wave that made Zaven scream in pain, holding her ears as Rager panted, now able to breath, and I can break sound with a clap. Bad for those sensitive scroll hearing of yours. The bigger mare then charged again, going in for another punch, but Zaven's body bent around the fist as the mare made 2-tone fist and went in for a 2-fist smack to Rager's head. The impact made Rager knock out and Zaven quickly pushed her over the ledge. She made an invisible slide to slide her to the street. But the Super Skrull had won. She stood in victory, smiling happily down below as she said, I am the alpha female of Herd Spider-Man. Meanwhile, below the city, in what looked like a clinch set up in the sewers, a group of super-villains who were depowered were in the waiting room. The Yak Man IAC looked at Necro Nag, why is there a wait, Yak want her powers back? Necro Nag rolled her eye, it's not that simple. You have to be bathed in the light of the stone. And even then he only gives you a week, so you have to come back and pay for it. She pulled out a magazine, read a magazine or something. At that point a gray stallion, no mane no tail, in a lab coat, baggy blue pants, using a cane to stand as he was clearly very old. He had an eye patch over his left eye. His right leg a peg. His right hand was a hook, His only eye was grey as he said, "Okay, up next is Necro-Nag," he said, pointing to the power stone in his forehead. Necronag put her book down and walked along happily. "Well, see you, Nag, I have powers to get back." Meanwhile in the streets, MJ as she-devil with a sword was slashing at High Heel, who was using bladed heels. "Now that I got my agility back and can stand in my trick heels, nothing can stop me from beating you, Nag. Only one blade fighter can stand." MJ blocked every strike with her new golden sword. "Really now?" She then used a wing slap to knock High Heel back. "Because all I see is a tacky bee who ties her tail into a bow." High Heel growled as she jumped in the air, and in a moment Heel Blade meet Heel Blade shooting off a fireball. MJ flow out of the way of it and comment, "Yeah, that makes sense, shoe flame thrower." She then flow and turn sideways, ramming and knocking the villainess out. "You are just an idiot, aren't you?" So alright folks, that's all for today. Stay tuned for part 9. Do subscribe, like and share for more such videos. Also check out the story and author JBoy44 on fanfiction.net. Press the bell icon to be notified first on release. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.